All right, hello, my name is Gunnar with EFS Personal Training, and I'm going to be talking about plans, not resolutions today. Brief overview. It's going to go into an intro to resolutions, creating a plan, and then goal setting. SMART goals, so going over specifics on how to set goals and what needs to be in each kind of goal. And then applying these SMART goals to our resolutions, so taking our resolutions and make them into a plan. All right, New Year's resolutions. So what are resolutions? They are when someone tries to or attempts to change an undesired trait or behavior. So quit smoking, quit spending so much money, lose weight, the list goes on and on. As you see on the slide, the number one is lose weight. So it's a pretty common theme across resolutions. Some more statistics on New Year's resolutions. If you look at the first line, percent of Americans who usually make New Year's resolutions is 45%, so that's almost half. That's a lot of people. And then if you look at line number 4, percent of people who are successful in achieving their resolution is only 8%, so that's a very small number of people that actually achieve their goals. And then on the bottom, the types of resolutions, self-improvement or weight-related are the majority, with almost 75% if you add those up. Length of resolutions, so how long people actually stay on track with the resolutions and follow through. People maintain, so 75% of people maintain the resolution through the first week, 71% at 2 weeks, 64% at 1 month, and then 46% at 6 months. So halfway through their resolution or their goal, the majority have fallen off already. So why do people fall off? Usually lack of motivation, lack of results, so that's not instant gratification, the accountability factor, and then a lack of direction or no solid plan. So should you make a resolution? No. But should you set goals? Yes. So resolutions are usually just huge long-term goals that kind of shoot for the moon. And if you have no plan to get to that point, you're more than likely going to be one of those statistics that fell off. So instead of making a resolution, make a plan, and then make your plan that's focused around goals. And we're going to go into how to set up these goals here in a second. So goal setting 101, short-term, intermediate, and long-term goals. So short-term goals are daily or weekly tasks, if you will. They're small, more manageable goals, so things that you do every day that are going to get you from A to Z, but A to B. So it's just short-term goals. So intermediate-term goals are next, and those are like 2 weeks or more, upwards of like 3 to 6 months. They're achieved by completing your short-term goals, so on the daily and the weekly. It'll get you through your intermediate goals. And long-term goals. So long-term goals are your 6 month or 1 year plus, could be your lifetime. These are achieved by completing your intermediate goals, which are achieved by completing your short-term goals, and then they'll get you to your long-term goal. And then so like New Year's resolutions are usually just real long-term goals that have no intermediate or short-term involved. So going into SMART goals, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely, which we'll go into individually each next. The S, specific, so it's a clear, detailed description of your goal, or your goal is more detail-oriented. It's not just a vague goal like, I'm going to be healthier. I mean, that's a great goal, but what are you going to do to achieve becoming healthier? And then next, so like, I'm going to lose weight. It's a little bit more specific. Losing weight will make you healthier, right? And then I'm going to work out more to lose weight. So that's a little bit more specific. You're working out, you're losing weight, but a more specific goal would be something along the lines of, I'm going to work out 3 to 4 times per week to burn calories, creating a daily caloric deficit of 500 calories in order to lose 1 pound of body weight per week. Now that's kind of overkill on how specific that is, but as we go through the next few letters, you'll see why we need all those specific units. Measurable, so M stands for measurable. So you need some sort of unit to track progress, or else you might be going in circles, you might not be going anywhere at all. So I'm going to be healthier. We'll stick with that resolution. There's really no unit for tracking being healthy or for being healthier. If you go with I'm going to lose weight resolution, weight is actually a unit you can track, so that's better than saying I'm going to be healthier this year. A stands for achievable. So achievable meaning, is this goal humanly possible? Has someone done this before? Is it realistic? So sticking with I'm going to lose weight resolution, is that scientifically possible? Yes, it's been done before. And then if your goal is not or has not ever been done before, or if it's not scientifically possible, obviously we need to reassess the goal. So for example, if you want to say I want to lose 100 pounds in a week, I don't think you can do that unless you cut off your legs or something like that. But if you want to lose 100 pounds in a year, that's more scientifically possible. People have done that before. And then the R stands for realistic, so it kind of goes back to being achievable. And then also being realistic with yourself, so being self-aware, being aware of your ability, your time allotment, your resources, etc. Just because someone else can lose over 2 pounds a week doesn't mean that it's realistic for you. So you might not have the resources to buy or to have a specific meal plan, or you might not have the time allotment. So you might not have the time to go to the gym every day or twice a day, etc. And then just reassess and adjust to what's realistic for you. T stands for timely. So setting a time frame or a deadline. If you don't set a time frame, you might just be aiming to lose 10 pounds for the next 3 years. You got to set a time frame and then reassess when you hit that time frame. So for example, I want to lose 2 pounds by the end of this week. So that gives me 7 days to lose 2 pounds. If I don't do it, got to readjust, make a new goal. Okay, so planning out resolutions. So taking these SMART goal principles and applying them to New Year's resolutions. We're going to go through an example, and then these are the steps we're going to take. So step 1, make a resolution, or take your resolution that you've already made, deciding what you want to achieve. Step 2, set a long-term goal using the SMART goals, so the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely principle. Step 3, set intermediate and short-term goals to achieve the long-term goal from your resolution. Set smaller stepping stones. So getting from here to here isn't such a big jump when you have smaller short-term and intermediate goals. And then step 4, just execute it. So turn your dream into a reality. So for example, one of my resolutions is I want to look better for summer this year, right? So applying SMART goals to this resolution, I want to lower my body fat percentage from 16% to 10% by the end of June. So that gives me 6 months to lose 6%. So looking at the SMART goal principles specific, so I went from I want to look better for summer this year to I want to lower my body fat. It's measurable because there's a body fat percentage, there's a unit to measure. It's achievable, 16% down to 10%, averages out to about 1% per month, which is definitely achievable. It's realistic if above average discipline is applied to nutrition and exercise, so making sure you stay on top of meal planning and exercising. It's timely, so there's a time frame, end of June, 6 months time frame. We'll reassess from there. So I took my resolution, turned it into a long-term SMART goal, 10% of body fat by the end of June. So now we're going to set intermediate and short-term goals to stay on track of our long-term goals. So an intermediate goal would be at the 3-month mark, which would be the halfway point. I want to be at 13% or less. So I want to lose 3% in 3 months, which will keep me on track to my 10% in 6 months. So then setting an additional intermediate goal, if needed. I'm going to set one. So each month I want to make sure I'm getting 1% loss each month. So if I hit my 1% goal each month, then I'm for sure going to hit it 6% in 6 months. And then setting the short-term goals to achieve your intermediate goals. Short-term goals are usually the weekly and daily. So weekly short-term goals would be like work out 4 times per week. I want to make sure I get 4 workouts in. I want to make sure I meal prep at the beginning of the week to make sure I'm on top of my nutritional game. And then I want to make sure I weigh in and then check body fat weekly, in my opinion, weekly, just to make sure you're seeing a trend towards your goal. And then if you're not, reassessing as needed. And then daily short-term goals would be making sure I get enough sleep, so 8 hours of sleep, staying hydrated, 64 plus ounces of water, and then making sure I hit my calorie and macronutrient goals for each day. So if I'm doing my short-term goals, I'm for sure going to achieve my intermediate goals. If I hit the intermediate goals, for sure I'm going to hit the long-term goal. It's just a fail-proof plan that way. So at the end of all of this process, you're going to have a list of goals. So it's more or less a step-by-step blueprint, if you will, on how to achieve your long-term goal or your resolution. So the long-term goal was to lose 10% body fat by the end of June, 2 intermediate goals, and then the weekly and daily short-term goals right there. So take your resolution that you have made or are going to make, use this model, apply it to it, focus on setting the SMART goals, then use that to set short, intermediate, and long-term goals that have the SMART model to it. And then assess regularly, make adjustments as needed. If you hit a plateau, that means you've been doing something for too long, or the same thing for too long, and then something needs to be adjusted and reassessed. And then lastly, just make sure you execute, trust in your plan, stay motivated, and you'll for sure hit your resolution and your long-term goals. So if you have any questions, make sure to contact us, and then let us know how your New Year's resolutions are going. Thank you.